This trestle right behind me was built in 1908. And today we are gonna go even further back in time, back to 1900, and be making the 1900 Blackhawk hatchet and axe. Isn't that cool? Wow. So let's head over to Ethan's shop, and we're gonna start taking the train rail and processing it to make axes and hatchets. To make the hatchet from the train rail, you have to first process the train rail, obviously get it into a shape that you can start to make the axe out of. We call it the billeting process. Now that I moved to Alberta, Ethan Hardy is really close to me, and he has a 600-pound hammer. And he's just a whiz at running that thing. And so he's actually taken on the billeting process. So that's the process of cutting the train rail, grinding it, and then you forge it down to dimension. And he's been doing a great job with that. And it's just awesome to have his shop supporting, you know, kind of my shop, and we get that work out to you. The Blackhawk hatchet is this pretty stouty, sturdy hatchet or axe that was designed to sort of be used around, let's say like a campfire where you got to break up a little bit of wood or something like that. It's made from at least 100-year-old train rail, and so it's sort of got the series that happens because you only have so much train rail from one date. The date gets stamped in the back along with the serial number underneath. I got interested in blacksmithing when I was a young teenager and just kept going on that path ever since. It's never been something that I've struggled with from the drive to keep doing it and learning. I think maybe the outworking of it being relevant is something I've struggled with more now. I'd always kind of thought in my mind that the Blackhawk hatchet and the train rail and the series would just sort of go for a while and then end. And I was okay with that. I just thought, oh, let's just move on to the next thing, you know what I mean? And there's a couple things that happened last year that have really kind of changed my thoughts on that. And one of them was I just needed to upload a video to the YouTube to keep things going. And it was just a start, actually not unlike this video really, but just from start to end of the process of building the Blackhawk hatchet. And for some unknown reason, literally I don't know, the video just ticked off and gained a lot of views. And we received like a year of work in a very short period of time. Obviously it was pre-orders because it took over a year to process it all. So last year was so busy just getting the work out, pushing these things out, that I didn't do any tool development. My mind thought didn't change. I was just like, oh, this is a blessing, it's great, let's get this work done. But then fast forward to the start of this year, and I can remember coming into the last batch of pre-ordered Blackhawk hatchets. And I just was like slowing down mentally in the forging, and I was just kind of savoring it, enjoying it. And that was the realization that I really don't want to see this end. And that was the end of the 1912, right? So I cut it off because I didn't want to oversell on the 1912. So everything was kind of coming to a closure, and I thought, okay, this is the end. And so that wrapped up, and then there was a void of, I would say like a month where I was doing other things, and I just was like, what do we do? And I just felt like I missed the hatchets, and I want that to be something that's continually, hopefully, continually in the shop. So many of you who have bought one have reached out and said, hey Tim, I'm giving this to my son, or my dad or my grandpa had this and this axe, and this sort of represents that or is symbolic that, and it's really meaningful to me. I really want to see this series continue on, regardless to, you know, what the numbers are. Just from a satisfaction of a craftsman making something, I want this to go. It feels like it has sort of like a meaning and a purpose. The other thing that I've been mentally working with is that the algorithms, the social media, the consumerism, it's like the stark contrast is the work of what I do, that blacksmithing, making tools that will last past generations. It's sort of like a collision, and I've struggled with that. And I feel like I've even backed off of social media because of that. And so what I'm saying is that this work has meaning, I enjoy it, and so I want the Blackhawk series to continue. This is the hatchet forged up, and now we're going to get into the grinding. So, Martin, would you be just interested in old time's sakes take a 1900 for a spin on the grinder for us?
It's only right that you're in this video to be a part of it. Thank you.
This is a piece of O1 tool steel. I decided to completely reamp the branding of the Blackhawk hatchet. The serial number that I stamp in the back of the hatchets, I want the font to match the logo. And so we're gonna actually go build a number stamp set with a specific font. It's gonna be awesome. 4:47 a.m. Trying to beat the heat. I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is Squarespace. You're needing a website. Doesn't matter what kind of website, Squarespace has award-winning templates. E-commerce website, portfolio, blog, whatever. Squarespace has it for you. Get your domain name, set up an email campaign, send it off, get traffic, get sales, make money, live the dream! I forgot to say, the templates are awesome, but if you do want to tweak and adjust them, with Fluid Engine, you can switch stuff around. It's pretty sweet, to be honest. You don't have to like code. Set it all up, 30 days, free. Cost you nothing. Give it a shot. I'll put the link right here. Use that, 10% off your first purchase. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Here in front of the fiber laser. This is the OwnTech 80-watt fiber laser. Okay, I've got it set up there, and now we're just going to burn it in. So that's it finished there. It's so cool. I'll round up the top a little bit for striking, and then I gotta harden this thing. Just setting up here to make the stamp for the 1900. So this is the finished stamp, just out of the laser, and the font turned out super good. And collectively, it's still unbelievable that I can make this on site. It's just so cool. I'm gonna do the next one differently. You can see there's kind of all these lines and edges that are still here, but I'm just gonna quickly grind it a little bit, clean it up, and then we're gonna get into, oh, I gotta heat treat it, and then we're gonna use it. We're gonna try the stamp out for the first time, see how it works. Okay, that's a stamp. There you go. That's pretty smoking sweet. How cool is that? These are the finished serial number stamps. We're trying them out now, see how they work. Check that out. That is so cool. 1900, flip her up, matching serial number, baby. We are gonna give the 1900 train rail a hardness test here to make sure it's good. Not that I'm worried about it, but I always like to check in and see where things are at. These are just out of the temper now. I have tested 4 different pieces, and each one I've done a little bit different, and this is all my numbers. There's different oils you can quench in, and that affects kind of the rate of how it hardens. For the last batch, I was using a quenching oil called AAA, but this batch, I'm going to the Parks 50/50. Quench this 2-hour temper at 300 degrees Fahrenheit is giving me a 57.5 Rockwell C hardness, which is exactly on the bullseye for axe. So I'm very excited about that. So the process for heat treating the axes, after all the grinding and forging is done, I reheat them to normalize the axes, heat it up again, quench an oil. After it's quenched, I use the torch And I actually do a little bit of heating around the eye just to soften that up past what I'm going to temper in the oven. This doesn't affect the tip or the back of the axe, just the middle. I then put it in the oven, and then that is the heat treated axe. So we get to finally try out this cool sharpening jig I made and see if it actually works. Man, this turned out so sweet. So excited about how that jig works. A little bit more to learn on it, but collectively, this is awesome. So one of the huge inefficiencies I have is actually in making the sheath, the leather sheath for the hatchets. Now that I have the fiber laser from OwnTech, I'm gonna use that, and we're gonna try to make up a flicker die so I can cut the sheaths out of leather and hopefully increase the efficiency. So the first thing I'm gonna do is actually make a master sheath. And what's cool with the fiber laser is I actually can cut leather. It's just not a super efficient process. So that's why I wanna make the clicker die. This is render 1 of the sheath. Collectively, actually, it's pretty close, but I still wanna tweak. I want to see if I can get things a little bit better than that. This is the piece of wood that we're going to burn our kind of template profile in, and I'll show you what I'm thinking after that. All right, we'll see how we did here. It looks good, and so now we're going to see. We'll see if this idea works, you know? Heading to the shop. So I actually have a couple different bandsaw blades that I can pick from. Oh, it's too big. Would the teeth fit in? They do fit in. That would be awesome. They would just done and you would sharpen. I like this. Ooh, that is sharp though. Okay, that is sharper than I thought. Okay, good. That is very, very cool. So I've got some stuff set up here in the fly press. This is just a little bit of a gimmicky setup just to see if this thing works. Because if this doesn't work, I don't want to keep chasing. So it actually worked out really pretty good. It's maybe just, it's just a little itty bitty off in one spot compared to the original one, but I've just been looking at it, I just don't think that that's an issue. So I put a piece of steel on the back here, hopefully keep it more rigid, and then I'm hoping I could just directly press on it. Okay. Here is the finished sheath on there. Turned out so good. It works so awesome. Very minimal adjustment to make that fit. So excited. Yes. All right, let's get a handle on this thing. The handle is a Hoffman handle. I love it. It's awesome. What's changed on the wedging of how I do it is I used to use the hydraulic press, and that was okay with the exception that you would sometimes overpress and break things. And what I found is that because the head is forged so specific to this handle, that I believe I can get as good of a fit up doing it by hand and then minimize the risk of things breaking. And so that's how I've changed. It's fun to do it like this, and I believe it gives you as good of a product. So all around, I consider that a win. So the hatchet is finished, but you gotta check out what I'm thinking for the packaging for the wooden box. This is 5/1000 of an inch thick shim stock. I've got it set up here in the laser. Now, this is gonna be the stencil for the Black Hawk logo. Check out this box. How cool does that look? Yes, this is awesome. So cool. This is awesome. What a cool packaging for a product. If you need a laser, fiber laser, CO2 laser, any kind of laser, check out OhmTech. I'm gonna put their link down below this video. It is an affiliate link, so just so you know, check it out. This is the launch of the 1900 Blackhawk hatchet. I'm gonna try to keep it in stock. If I can't, it's gonna go to a pre-order. Regardless, thank you to all of those who have been a part of this adventure, this path, this series, and to those of you who future buy one, thank you. I look forward to making it and forging it for you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Till then, keep the forge lit, hey?